Good evening and welcome to Daily Red Devil for all of your latest Manchester United transfer news and talk. And as always, we're back with another massive show on this Friday evening. But before we jump into that, please do smash a like on the video. Please do subscribe to the channel, bottom right hand corner, if this is your first time watching. And let's get straight on into it. So on the show this evening, we're going to be talking about Manchester United's pursuit for a new centre-back in the January transfer window. And there has been a new name that has been thrown out into the mix that's being widely reported today. We will, of course, be talking about that. We're also going to be talking about a massive double injury boost for Manchester United, which, of course, hopefully is going to give us a bit of a boost into these key period of the season. And we're also going to be giving you a bit more insight into the Qatar bid and what the actual real price was that they offered. And I think it's actually going to surprise some of you. I know a lot of you were like, you know, oh, they offered 6 billion, this, that, and the other. We have actually had clarity now from a very reliable source on the exact figure that was offered by Sheikh Jassim before the bid was rejected and they decided to pull out. So we'll, of course, be talking about that. Lots of other stuff to be getting into as well. We'll be talking a bit about the game on Sunday, about the derby, reacting to some of the stuff that Erik ten Hag said in his press conference. Loads of other stuff to get into. Do make sure to get involved in the comment section, get involved in the live chat, and let me know your thoughts on everything we discuss on today's show. So let's start the show off with a positive, because this is a massive, massive boost. Erik ten Hag confirmed in his press conference earlier on today at Carrington that Aaron Wan-Bissaka is back training on the grass with the first team squad. This is massive because if any of you remember, we were told for a long time that Aaron Wan-Bissaka was going to be out for at least 3 months, meaning it would be very surprising if we saw him before the Christmas, fixtures. For some reason, he sped up his recovery, which is absolutely incredible. It really, really is. I think Dallow's done an okay job, but at this point, I would genuinely have Aaron Wan-Bissaka at right back and Diogo Dalot at left back. I think Reguilón's been okay, but we've already seen with Reguilón, he's injury prone. If you look at his injury record back at Atletico Madrid, he did not start many games at all. And that wasn't because he wasn't good enough. It was because he was injured for literally most of the season last year. I don't know how Manchester United keep recurring this same issue of bringing in players, right, who just have injury problems. We look at last season, okay? Let me just break this down for you. Last season, okay, Reguilón missed 26 matches in a row. He was out for 67 games for Atletico Madrid from the beginning of August until the end of October with the same injury. He was then available for November and December and then got injured again in February with a hamstring injury and was out for another 3 matches. So he missed around 30 games last season for Atletico Madrid. Yes, he's been okay. Yes, at some points I've thought he looked like one of our better players from the summer. But you shouldn't be signing someone who misses half a season through injury on a regular occurrence. That's one of the reasons why Tottenham were happy to loan him out. He wasn't really performing there and he kept getting injured. And the same thing happened at Real Madrid before he even moved to Tottenham. So he's one of those types of players that always picks up injuries and always seems to be out for a long time. Aaron Wan-Bissaka, before this injury now, I don't remember the last time he was injured. So really, really happy that Aaron Wan-Bissaka's back. And some journalists are even saying that he could be back in the first team as soon as next week. So this is a massive boost for Manchester United. Really, really happy about this. Let me know what your thoughts are in the comment section about Aaron Wan-Bissaka. Obviously, Manchester United are currently in talks with his agent over a new deal. So it looks like he will be staying at the club for the long-term future, which I think is the correct decision. I think we should maybe be looking for a more attacking right back to accompany him, maybe someone like a Frimpong, just to offer something different. You know, if you're playing against Man City in the derby or a really difficult team, you want Aaron Wan-Bissaka. He's one of the best, if not the best, one-on-one defensive right backs, I think, in world football. And I honestly do believe that. But going forward, I think he does lack a little bit. I think for Manchester United, for a team of our level, we need a defensive-minded right back like Wan-Bissaka, but also one who's a little bit more attack minded, you know. So if you're at home against a lesser team and you need to really, really push into their half, I think, you know, someone like Jeremy Frimpong would be able to offer that. Obviously, Aaron Wan-Bissaka's only 25 years of age, remember. He's still got a long time left in him. Let's see what everyone's saying in the chat this evening. Welcome, everybody. I hope everyone is doing good. What have we got? Yeah, everyone seems happy tonight. Friday evening. Hope everyone has got some nice plans for the weekend. Obviously, we have got the massive game on Sunday, which we will be doing a little bit of a preview on in a minute. So yeah, Aaron Wan-Bissaka's back. Really, really happy about that. And the other big injury boost for you this afternoon, obviously, we all know that Kobbie Mainoo featured for Manchester United's under-19s against Copenhagen earlier on in the week. Obviously not in the first team squad, but in the under-19 squad. So we are expecting him to be available for selection from next week as well. The under-21 manager has been speaking about Kobbie Mainoo, and he said this. He said, listen, it's important that Kobbie gets those minutes. He'll feel a lot more confident after that. I don't know what's in store for him in the next few weeks, but he's going to try and keep building up now, and hopefully he can get in and around that first team squad. And you know what? I think he deserves a chance to get into that first team squad, because I was talking about this earlier. I think Amrabat's done okay, but so far I've seen nothing from Amrabat that makes me think we should be building a team around him. I think he's maybe a good squad player, a good bench player, but I don't think he's, for me personally at this point, I don't think Amrabat's the future for Manchester United personally. He's 27 years of age. He's in his prime right now, Amrabat, okay? He's in his prime. In the next 2 or 3 years, he'll start to go downhill. 27 years of age, a good squad player for me. But people like Kobbie Mainoo, I know he's still very young. I know it could go one way or the other with people of his age. He's 18 years of age. If he turns out to be the player that we're all hoping he is going to be, he's the future of Manchester United, you know? He's 9 years younger than Amrabat, and I know that most of this fan base are more excited about him than they are about Sofian Amrabat, which I would agree with. So hopefully he comes back in. Hopefully he actually gets some game time, and hopefully this actually happens, because I'm really, really excited to see Kobbie Mainoo grow and become a first team player. I think it would be amazing. It would be such a great story. It would just be what Manchester United are about, you know, bringing these people through the youth, people who are Manchester United through and through, breaking into the first team and focusing your team around those types of players. That's exactly what Manchester United has been built on. You know, he joined the club at under-18s level back in 2021. I don't know where he was before that. I assume he was just in the Manchester United youth, wasn't he, his whole career? So, yeah, very, very excited, very high expectations. Let me know what your thoughts are on Kobbie Mainoo, though. Are there some people in the chat who aren't fully convinced on him? Is everybody in the same position where you're like, you know what, this is the player for the future? I've got such high hopes for him. Let me know what your thoughts are. For me, I think he is the future for Manchester United. I really, really do. From what I've seen of him so far, the way he conducted himself in that game against Arsenal and in the pre-season matches when he was playing against, you know, people like Declan Rice, and he literally looked better than Declan Rice. I know it's pre-season, some people would say, but he held himself well. And we know that from our youth players, he's one of the most exciting that we've heard about for a long time. Let's see what people are saying in the chat quickly. Paul says Dalot is not a very good fullback. I agree with you, to be honest. I don't want to, you know, shame players in the chat, and I don't, you know, on this channel I don't have agendas. I just give you my honest opinion. Sometimes my opinions are right, sometimes they're wrong. That's the whole beauty of football, isn't it? You can't just, you know, think that you're always going to be right. Sometimes you get it wrong, sometimes you get it right. I think Dalot is okay. I think he's average. I don't think he's world class by any means. Right, let's move on to this story about this new centre-back. And everyone who's just joined, please do smash a like on the video. We've got over 200 of you watching already, which is amazing. The more people that like it, the more people that will join the stream. So please do like. Doesn't cost any money. It's just the big thumbs up like this one. Go and give it a like and subscribe as well, bottom right-hand corner if you haven't already. Right, let's talk about this surprise centre-back in January. I think we can all agree, right, that we need a new centre-back. I think Lisandro Martinez is an incredible player, but he's definitely got injury issues. He has. After that injury from last season, he's been out for 3 months, came back for a month, out again for another 3 months. Rafael Varane is injury prone as well. And Harry Maguire, I think Harry Maguire, I will say this now, right? Against a team who are playing a low block and not really attacking and just lobbing the ball forward, I think Harry Maguire is more than good enough to play for Manchester United. But most of the time, we're playing against teams that are coming at us. And Harry Maguire struggles in those types of matches, you know? Against Man City on Sunday, I think he's going to struggle. I do. And I think we do need to bring in somebody else. So the story that's coming out this afternoon is that Manchester United are apparently looking to put in an offer in January for... so this guy's name is Sebastian Cáceres. He's from Uruguay. He plays his football currently for Club America in Mexico. He's available for only £4 million. I've been watching some videos about this guy earlier on today, and he looks like the real deal. He looks like somebody who would be really, really good business from Manchester United. I know there's people like Jean-Claire Todibo. I know there's people, Antonio Silva. There's all of these other like trendier names, let's call them. But this guy, I honestly think he's going to be a very, very good centre-back in the next few years. Still very, very young. Still hasn't made his big move over to a European club yet. Obviously playing his football in the Mexican league. He plays for the Uruguay national team, I believe. Let me just check. Yes, he starts in the Uruguay national team, obviously alongside Pellistri and Bentancur and all those other people. Very, very good player, available for only £4 million. If you haven't heard of this guy before, go and check him out. His name's Sebastian Caceres, Caceres. Go and have a look at him. He plays for Club America in the Mexican League. His contract expires in a year's time, and that's why he's available for such a small amount of money. £4 million is what's being mentioned in the press this afternoon, and apparently Manchester United are currently scouting him and are now willing to put in an offer of £4 million in the January transfer window. Let me know what you think about this. I assume most of you are unaware of this player. I know it was a new name for me until earlier on today, but I think he does look like the real deal, £4 million as well. I think that's the kind of money we need to be working with at this moment in time. I would much rather us spend smaller amounts of money on players that have been scouted well than be spending 40, 50 million pounds on players who are already playing for a European club and have already got the price tag, We need to be one of those clubs that start doing what Brighton do, bringing in these people from South America, from the Brazils, from Ecuador, from places like that. Not just every time waiting for them to move to Ajax or waiting for them to move to Real Madrid and then buying them for 60, 70 million when they're past their best. That seems to be what we do over and over again. Josh says Tottenham, West Ham and other European clubs are also interested in him. Yes. Thanks. That is also something worth noticing. There are other clubs that are currently circling for this guy's signature. As Josh said, people like Tottenham, Atletico Madrid's name's also been thrown up there, West Ham. Lots and lots of different clubs are interested in this player. But realistically, if Manchester United come knocking, I would imagine he'll come because Manchester United, as we all know, are the biggest club in the world. Whether or not we're the biggest club on the world from a footballing perspective, obviously we're not because we're pretty rubbish. But from a commercial side, from a brand side, from the amount of money we pay people, fan base wise, we're the biggest club in the world. And those revenue stats that came out a couple of days ago prove that we made more money than any other club in world football, and we're doing very, very well on a financial and a commercial side, which for a lot of players, that's sometimes what the most important thing is. We have such a rich legacy at Manchester United, whereas let's be honest, what's Tottenham's legacy? Winning nothing. What's West Ham's legacy? Obviously, they won the Conference League last season, but other than that, not a lot. Obviously, if you go back 10, 20, 30 years, I know that they were more successful. Somebody says, can we start negotiations now? Well, usually what will happen at this point in the season is they'll be speaking directly with their agent, getting an idea of what kind of role they would want at the club, whether they'd want to be a first-team player, whether they'd be happy to be a rotation player, and all the rest of it. I'm sure that, intermediaries will be working on these types of deals for a long, long time. And I think that as soon as that January transfer window opens, we need to strike. We need to get in there and we need to buy this player because I genuinely believe he is going to be the real deal at Manchester United. But let me know your thoughts in the comment section, everybody. What player should Manchester United be looking at in the centre-back position in the January transfer window? Right, let's move on to this story about the Qatar bid. Truth, because The Athletic, obviously a very, very credible tier one outlet in the UK, have published an article today talking about Sheikh Jassim's bid and giving a bit more of clarity on what actually happened and how much money was actually offered and all the rest of it and what went wrong ultimately. So they have confirmed this afternoon that Sheikh Jassim's final offer for Manchester United was around 5 billion. Obviously, some journalists were saying it was closer to 6, but The Athletic today are saying that it was actually around 5. It says that this fell significantly short of the Glazer family's valuation for the club, which apparently was 6.5 billion pounds. Absolutely mental money, that is, if you ask me. 6.5 billion when the club's value on the on the market actually is around 3.5. Crazy money. And we know that all these Glazers want is just to squeeze as much money as possible out of Manchester United. And I can see why Sheikh Jassim walked away at that point. He's offered 5 billion. He's offered to clear the debt. He's offered all of these things, new stadium, investment in the infrastructure, all of this. His whole package, including the amount he's paying for the club, the stadium, the debt, and all the rest of it, would have been way over 10 billion total. But the Glazers don't care about that. They just wanted their 6.5. All of the rest of it's irrelevant to them. They don't care about the stadium. They don't care about the debt. They don't care about the fans. They just care about their own pocket. And that's why Sir Jim Ratcliffe has slid in here. That's how he's managed to weasel his way in. Greedy Glazers, as Sarah says. Ratchet says, how will they get 6.5 million? Yeah, a billion, sorry. Yeah, they won't, will they? That's the thing that doesn't make any sense to me. That's the thing that I can't get my head around. How does Sir Jim Ratcliffe think that he's going to be able to buy the club in a year's time? Is he going to pay 6.5 billion for it? Because the thing is, right, the Glazers are only going to keep wanting more money. They're not going to say, oh, we'll sell it to you for 6.5 in 5 years' time. You know, in 5 years' time, they're going to want 7, 8, 9. So how is Sir Jim Ratcliffe going to get this deal over the line? And obviously there was a story this morning that we spoke about on the show from The Independent saying that ultimately Sir Jim Ratcliffe's offer hasn't even been voted on yet because the Glazers aren't happy to commit to allowing him to buy the club in X amount of years. They're not happy to do that. They don't want to do that. They want to stay. And it's just our worst fears just being rekindled over and over and over again. You know, everybody thought that this was the case. Everybody in this chat, in this community said, there is no way on earth that the Glazers are going to sell to him in 2 years' time. Why would they? They want to stay. They don't want to leave. We all know that. Lumen says, if the Glazers are greedy, then Sheikh Jassim is stingy. I mean, the Glazers are greedy and Sheikh Jassim isn't stupid. I mean, paying 6.5 billion for something that's worth half of that is dumb. Chelsea was sold for what? Like around, how much did Chelsea sell for? Chelsea sale price. Chelsea sold for 4.25 billion. And how much is Chelsea's revenue? How much is Chelsea revenue? So Chelsea's revenue this year was just under 500 million. Ours was about 650 million. So there obviously is a big difference there, 150 million revenue difference. I don't think that it warrants 6.5 billion valuation though, personally. I know obviously the Chelsea situation was different, but there was a lot of people interested in buying Chelsea, a lot of different bidders, a lot of different offers. Lumen says Kieran, Sheikh Jassim would have recovered the difference of 1.5 billion in a short period of time. Yeah. Fred says who's left to buy. I don't know, mate. I think what's going to happen in this situation is Sir Jim Ratcliffe will end up just giving the Glazers what they want, which will be them staying in some capacity forever. That's what I think is going to happen, because I don't see how else he's going to, you know, make these types of agreements with them if they're not willing to. Somebody said Chelsea sold for 2.7 billion. It says on Sky Sports here, Chelsea sold. Let me just double check this. Okay, cool. Yeah, so I've misread that. So the total. So the club sold, sorry, Chelsea only sold for 2.5 billion, and the owners pledged to invest a further 1.75 in further investment to benefit the club. I mean, that just sums it up, doesn't it? Manchester United had an offer on the table for double what Chelsea was sold for 1 year ago, and they rejected it. And Manchester United doesn't make double the amount of revenue as Chelsea. We just discussed that. Chelsea make around 500 million a year. Manchester United make around 650 million. So for us to be worth 5 billion, which is what Sheikh Jassim offered, you know, the club should be making $1 billion plus a year in revenue. We're nowhere near that. So I think it's absolutely ridiculous. But you know my stance on this. They're just greasy. Richie says Ineos will have a written contractual right to buy at a certain price and within a certain time frame. Anyone who thinks otherwise is a fool. Well, Richie, obviously that's what you think, but there's a clear article on the Independent this morning saying that apparently they haven't even voted on the takeover yet because the Glazers aren't willing to agree to that at this point. They're not willing to sign a contract saying they'll sell the club to him further down the line. Or some Glazers are happy to do it, some aren't. And it's the same thing over and over again. There's 6 different people who all have to agree to this. You know, Joel and Avram don't want to go, so why would they agree to it? The rest of them were probably happy to sell to Sheikh Jassim. It's just the same thing over and over again. And I think that this could honestly drag into next year now. I know a lot of you thought that we were going to get this takeover done and dusted and it was going to be Sir Jim Ratcliffe. I think it's going to drag on and on and on and on. And I think what's going to happen in the end is I think that Sir Jim Ratcliffe will get the club, but I think it will be for much less favourable terms than what everybody thinks or hopes is going to happen. But let me know what you guys think about that one in the comment section below. Scott says, if the Sheikh bought United for 6.5 billion, but didn't invest 1.5 billion, would you still have wanted him? The most important thing for me, Scott, right, is that I want somebody who's going to have 100% of the club. Okay? I don't want any shares on the New York Stock Exchange. I want to be taken off the New York Stock Exchange, and I want there to be one sole owner of Manchester United, 100% to them. I want all of the debt gone. Those are the 2 most important things. You want one person to own the club and then to be able to invest in it. Whether that's for their own financial gain, that's up to them. But as long as they're putting money in to better Manchester United, I want one owner, 100%, and I want all of the debt gone. Those are my main 2 criterias, okay? And neither of those are being offered by Sir Jim Ratcliffe at this point, you know? Even if he was going to buy the whole club, he didn't say that he was going to clear the debt. even when there was talk of him buying the whole club, he didn't say he was going to build a new stadium. So it's two completely different ends of the sticks, all right? Nationality has nothing to do with this, to me, whatsoever. I just want what I think's best for Manchester United, okay? That's just on a very fundamental black and white level. I'm not going into, greenwashing, sports washing. Is it state-owned? Is it, people saying he's going to do things with the Old Trafford site? There's all sorts of rumours out there of different things and different opinions, which we've talked about so many times on this channel that I think it just gets a bit tiresome. So that's why I wanted Sheikh Jassim, because he offered 100% ownership. He offered clearing the debt and Sergeant Ratcliffe didn't offer that. There's some breaking news coming out here really, really quickly before we wrap up the show. So Kobbie Mainoo obviously featured on Tuesday in the under-21s for the game against Copenhagen, right? There's a report coming out now that apparently Kobbie Mainoo is not in the squad for the under-21s game tonight and apparently will be in the squad for the Manchester Derby on Sunday. I mean, that would be, for me, that's way too soon to put him in the Manchester Derby after being injured for 3 months and barely even playing any first-team football. But I think it'll be a very, very good experience for him to be in and around the squad, and hopefully we get a good result. That's the most important thing. Hopefully we win that game. United News says, you are a brilliant presenter. I love your shows. However, I see your technical knowledge of football is limited. Fair enough. I've never made out to be some, what do you call it? One of those people on Twitter who pretends that they knows more than they do. He says, Amrabat is an extremely effective player and is easily capable of being a United CDM for 4 years. The thing that I don't like about Amrabat, right, is I think he's good defensively, but I don't really think he's the kind of player we need by way of somebody to get the ball off the defence and be able to create attacks. He's not that type of player. I think Amrabat or Casemiro, one or the other, I have no issue with that whatsoever. But I don't think both of them together work, And I think Casemiro is better than Amrabat. So for me, I would rather just keep Casemiro at this point. Have Kobbie Mainoo as the other option. Casemiro is the first choice. Kobbie Mainoo is the second choice. And then you go and get a world-class midfielder, somebody like Frenkie de Jong, just as an example, somebody who picks up the ball from the defence and then creates attacks. Because Amrabat doesn't do that from what I've seen so far. Casemiro kind of does that, but not really. Both of them are more defence-minded midfielders, and I think we need someone slightly more attacking in that position, but also has the attributes to be able to do the defensive work as well. Somebody like Frenkie de Jong, obviously, just as an example, he was the perfect target. We know that Erik ten Hag wanted him. Obviously, he didn't get him. But yeah, obviously, Chuck says, what type of low-key degrading comment is that? The thing is, right, everybody, I've said this to you many, many times before. I appreciate the the compliment bit, saying that you like how I present the shows and you enjoy the shows. I really, really appreciate that. I'm not a football manager. I'm not somebody who spends weeks on the training pitch learning every single tactic of the game. I'm just a football fan who loves Manchester United, who sits in front of a camera and has this community where we talk about football. I'm not going to at any point pretend I'm anything other than that. I'm not a journalist. I'm not, some expert in the technical side of things. I'm just a football fan. Sometimes my opinions might be right. Sometimes they might be wrong. And as I've always said on this channel before, right, my opinion is no better than anybody in this community. I value everyone's opinions. And I hope you do the same. If you disagree with things I say, that's completely fine. And I can disagree with things you say. Lumen says, Kieran, we have a weak defence. That's why we need 2 CDMs. That's a fair point. I get you there. King Kevin says, have we tried Amrabat and Casemiro together? Don't be too quick to judge. Amrabat can play passes and can cover for Casemiro when he goes attacking. Yeah, again, that's a fair point. I don't disagree with you there. The thing is, right, Casemiro, I think how many goals has Casemiro got for us this season? Is he our leading goal scorer? I have a feeling he might be, which sounds absolutely crazy, but I have a feeling that Casemiro's got the most goals. He's got 4 goals for us this season, so I think he is our leading goal scorer. Let's have a look what else. I'm not sure what's going on here. Chuck says, I wasn't saying that your comment was degrading. I was saying that the comment against you was low-key degrading. Yeah, I hear you. Like, the thing is, right, you know me on this channel. I'm not going to start effing and R-ing and calling people names because they disagree with me. Like, you're not going to get that on this channel. You're not, ever. You're not going to get those. You're not going to get that from me. All right? I respect other people's opinions. Obviously, as long as you say things in a respectful way and you're not just being abusive, I'll read stuff out and we can have conversations. I've got absolutely no issue with that whatsoever. But I'm going to wrap the show up here, guys. Thank you so much to everyone who's joined me on the show this evening. I do hope you've got something nice planned for this Friday. Obviously, I will be back tomorrow morning for your morning show. There will be obviously the match preview tomorrow as well. And then obviously we've got the big game on Sunday. Please do make sure to smash a like on the video. It does help more people find the videos and it just gets more people in the community. It doesn't cost any money, so please do make sure you smash a like before you go. Please do subscribe, bottom right hand corner. Have a nice day, and I will speak to you all a little bit later.